I knew there was audio issues, so you guys didn't hear the music. Damn it.
It happens. Let's see if we actually have audio, though. Well, you hear it on Facebook. We just don't hear it. So there was music, and it was awesome. It was our intro music, but we didn't dance. So I'm going to let's give a 3-second dance for everybody that was watching. All right. And there we go.
I replayed the music for you guys, so you guys don't look crazy.
We enjoyed looking crazy. We did it for the first 3 episodes. We danced for a long time, and everybody kept going, you guys have no music at all. You just look like people having seizures. We're like, that's gentleman gaming in a nutshell, baby. That's what we like to go with. What are we known for? Dudes having seizures.
So what we're talking about. I hear music.
Yes, I fixed it. I fixed it live. See, we fix problems live now. What's up?
We're going to talk about your and I's deployment, what we think is going to happen, these guys thinking what's going to happen. Let's talk about the fact that do we all think that tomorrow there's going to be some big news and how it will affect the rest of the season in tournaments?
Guys,
I want to bring up something because I want to bring it up live because I knew Alan wasn't going to like it as much because there's no meta right this second. But I wanted to talk a little bit about basically what you guys look for when you're trying to get ready for a tourney against the new top armies. Okay, the Alamo took place.
That was like a couple of 100 years ago.
No, it was like it just took place, man. And it's GK took first, and
he's actually talking about the real Alamo. He's talking about the actual Alamo. You don't know your history, but there was this thing called the Alamo. A couple days ago. Yeah.
Daniel Boone, can we also talk about how smooth Alan looks with his new beard and his gelled up hair? Look at that guy.
I love it, man.
There's no gel here.
I mean,
it's all natural. All natural.
Change your beard.
Yeah, we all hated your non-beard look, and we line item veto that forever.
You look like a human sex toy.
Well, that was kind of what
he was sponsored by the Fleshlight, so he had to do that for that.
I was going for that, man. I got to make the sponsors happy,
So
also sponsored by the Hot Spice behind you.
Yes.
So Robert was supposed to set me up with my Arnold quote, and he already dropped the ball. And he's not outside. He's nowhere. He literally left his computer chair, left his outside chair, and just showed up behind in the middle of nowhere in the living room.
Yeah, in my sofa.
He does look like he has a very nice drink, though.
Yeah.
He has gin and not tonic, because I think it's just gin.
Seems like
I also have some tonic and hibiscus.
Tonic and hibiscus.
Yeah.
So what random question did you ask, Brad?
So Brad, except drinks, what do you like in life?
Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentations of the women, which got ruined, by the way. I was a super huge Arnold nut when I was young. I was 2.5 feet tall as opposed to 3 feet tall as I am now, but I was already started lifting because I was like, screw this being tall, everybody's getting their ass kicked. But I was a huge Arnold fan. I watched Conan the Barbarian about 1 million times, somewhere in there, between 5 and 2 million. I'm watching it with my buddy Jay, and we're watching it, and that's like one of my favorite lines in the whole movie. And we're watching it, and all of a sudden he's sitting there, and he listens to the line, he looks over at me and goes, "Levitating women?" And I go, "No, man, the fuck are you talking about?" I go, and I give him the whole line. I go, "Lamentations of the women." And he goes, "Oh, okay, no big deal." And waits another couple minutes and then just pauses and goes, "So, what's lamentations mean?" And I'm just like, God damn it. This quote's word forever. And so by then the friend group knew about it. So everybody just called it the levitating women. So it's now always been crush your enemies and see the levitating women.
Is that like Sisters of Battle?
Yeah, exactly. Seraphim, levitating women. There you go. Conan loves them.
That's actually the answer to your earlier question. When I'm thinking about that movie's not terrible, Brittany. You go home. Stop talking about bad movies. You don't know what you're talking about.
This is why my hands hurt so bad from beating her all the time. It's just, she just says stuff like this, and I'm always, shaking them off. I'm like, my hands are all arthritic and they hurt so bad from
So Robert, this would be an example of close to the line, not necessarily crossing it, but close, right?
close. Robert would have went to a full nether level when he said it, of course.
Yeah.
I love that the most edited podcasts and or streams we have are all Robert related. The best is the other day I'm streaming and Robert and I are talking and he pauses and goes, so did you pause the stream? Because I'd like to say some offensive stuff now.
Well, I asked.
Yes, he did ask.
He's learning. They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but they never met Robert, man.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, the Conan movie, isn't it one of those who ends with the Conan the Barbarian beating a guy by breaking a mirror?
No,
kind of
that's
seem anti-exclamatic.
That's Destroyer.
Someone is getting a fucking phone
Someone's getting a phone call.
Hey, Tony, how you doing, buddy?
Brother Alan.
First time
What's
caller,
going on?
long time listener, first time caller.
Nothing much.
Oh, look at that sexy beast.
We're live on Facebook. You have a tendency of calling me when we're live on Facebook.
Love it.
That is fucking phenomenal.
You got Daniel from Sweden and Robert from Sweden, who's maybe the only person who says more offensive things than you, and then Brad and myself on Facebook Live right now. What did you want to talk about, Tony?
Well, first off, Daniel, how are you? What's going on?
I'm good, man. How are you? How's the heart?
I'm surviving. So that's about it.
Could you teach Brad that trick?
Can you teach Brad
Tony and I,
that trick?
Tony and I give the same response when anybody asks how we are. Yeah, I'm alive. I'm good. Yeah.
Oh, Brad, I know you were alive. You're tough as nails. Stop it.
I'm undead. I've already died. I just refuse to go away.
Love it.
Tell the old man to shut up.
So
Nice.
so Tony, how are COVID things going for the police department?
Well, unfortunately, we've had a couple more deaths. Obviously, one of them, since you're asking, one of them, unfortunately, he was fighting leukemia for about 3 years. So, not to get into politics, but obviously, they said that COVID was what caused the death, and obviously we had another one that was fighting asthma, and unfortunately he ended up passing away. So obviously, some of the things that we do know about this unfortunate disease is if you do have some type of underlying issues, then chances are if you do catch this, then unfortunately it's going to be a tough road ahead.
So if I had COVID and I get hit by a car, would it be a COVID-related death?
It would be. It would be. If you jumped out of an airplane without a parachute, it would be attributed to COVID-19.
It was
Bobby,
definitely.
are you staying inside?
No, he's working, man, 24/7. He's at the hospital. He's working at the hospital on his time off, at his second job.
Really?
Yeah.
Don't you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
underlying, circumstances?
They needed off-duty
Get
cops.
there early.
Yeah,
Get a spot.
yeah, they needed off-duty cops at the emergency rooms just to keep law and order because obviously our beloved Chicagoland area. And so I'm doing that. Actually, I am on my way right now to Skokie Hospital. So I'll be getting off in a few minutes, but I just wanted to say hi to everyone. It's great to hear from everyone. It's unfortunate that Adepticon didn't come through this year, but hopefully we get to see each other very soon. And go Space Wolves.
Indeed.
I'm sorry, Tony. There's some
Yes, sir.
static. There's some weird static going on. I can't
100%
hear you anymore. Oh,
Oh,
sorry, guys. We lost Tony. He's no longer on the call here. But I think he said something about have fun and stay cool. So
Space Wolves for life.
I don't think so. I think that was just like a weird static thing.
Jacob.
Heart goes out to Chicago Boys, of
Or
course.
sorry, as I've been now termed, Team Jacob with my Space Wolves and Team Edward with my Blood Angels to ruin my army. By the way, the best is the other day, one of the guys I was listening to us had a thing, wants to send me some stuff, and he goes, I need Brad's address, but I need someone to give it to me because I don't think Brad's going to give me his actual address for what I'm going to send him. So it's some Twilight shit. By the way, you jumped on board that so fast. You and Sean conspiring against me.
Twilight, your Twilight Army is awesome. I don't know why you got to feel so salty about it. It's just kind of strange. Such a good.
I was so excited about this too.
Such a good army.
Juiced, all hand in hand. I'm like, this is so badass. The baddest characters in the Imperium. So you're playing Twilight, right? I'm like, you Team Edward or Team Jacob? I went, no. And then after I get all this shit said to me, everybody's fucking with me. You're jacking me up about the Twilight. I think I'm gonna get some, sympathy from my woman. And instead, she runs up and busts open the door and goes, "How the hell are you Team Jacob? You should be Team Edward." And I went, "What is going on here?" Not that my army has been robbed of its awesomeness, but no, you should be a different team.
Brad, would you have said that you were so mad you wish you had a metaphorical pinata of a unicorn and you ripped it in half? Brought to you by Sean Nation.
God. So much. Oh God, that thing is amazing. By the way,
I know, dude. Sean made it
way,
sick.
Watch how I inhale the dust, and that's when I turn into the wolf.
You're all wrong. Team Bella, she's a strong, independent woman.
Yeah, you miss Celestine, who is Team Bella.
You gotta put Celestine in your army, I guess.
In the army. I was more thinking about that Inquisitor that comes with the Harlequin dude. I was gonna make because that's the effeminate friend that could hang out, and then they could fight over her. And then Britt, how dare you, Team Jacob? Yes, she literally kicked open the door to tell me that. That's the kind of love we have between each other. Daniel's about to murder himself with a knife.
Again, Robert, just ignore him. He's just salty that his army is basically the fictional nonsense of teens in their 14-year-old and 16-year-old age ranges. So just let him be salty, and we're good.
It's fine.
Why is Facebook recommended to me? Love it. Because we get to talk about Twilight. A bunch of literally old-ass men are now having a Twilight talk.
I want to talk about how 9th is going to drop tomorrow. Or it would be hilarious if Games Workshop isn't dropping 9th tomorrow, and their big announcement is something so small, like something like, hey, we redid Azrael Vect, and here's the model.
Nope. What? You got a new shade of blue in the colors.
No. Primaris Lieutenant.
Null
technical colors or something.
Null oil platinum. A larger bottle that lasts you longer.
This is the kind of comments I get in the quotes. This is why I'm going to marry Robert instead. By the way, Brittany and Robert had a, 2-hour conversation at ETC one year about how they were going to politely wait until I died because that was only going to be about 6 months before they got married.
Robert's dating a chick. He's pretty into her, actually. He watches what he says, which is like,
I don't know about that. He
non-Robert.
She did make the comment that he's perfect as long as he doesn't open his mouth.
Yeah, he stopped opening his mouth from what I heard because they're still together.
So. Seems like a smart idea for Robert in general, so it's fine.
8.5.
Daniel, pay your internet bill so your picture on here doesn't get smaller.
Look how both the Swedes are now wandering around their house rummaging for liquids.
Yeah, stop moving around. The bandwidth is getting challenged in Sweden. What do you guys got over there? Mickey Mouse internet? It's like some hamster in a wheel.
Well, first of all, I can have like 1,000 megabit.
Yeah, but you have to steal it from your job.
Don't know what those are.
That doesn't count.
Those aren't gigabytes. They were watching Back to the Future.
1/8 of 10,000 megapounds.
Stop trying to sound like you know numbers.
I only have.
You don't know any numbers. You don't know numbers.
A yard and a gallon in my.
Well, the real question I have for you guys, you Swedish guys, not Brad, is why are alligators so angry? Do you guys know why alligators are angry?
Please don't. Please don't.
Because they can't masturbate? Short arms.
Sure. Well, that would explain why Brad is so angry, but not alligators.
I had nothing, Brad.
Oh, man. Brad, why are alligators so angry?
Nope. Because Britt will like it if it comes from you because she loves shitty puns. Loves them, by the way.
Alligators are so angry because they got so many teeth and no toothbrush, guys. That's why they're angry.
I like that.
It's from a very famous movie, guys. And I knew you wouldn't know it because you're Swedish, so you don't know. Like, you didn't know who Michael Jordan was, so that just killed my whole belief that basketball matters.
It's a dental joke.
I'm pretty sure. I googled him now. He's the kid that jumped the turnstile and got shot or something.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ! What the?
Are we talking about Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan?
Yeah, dude, he doesn't know who he is. He has no idea who he is. It's hilarious, and he's your countryman.
Second most famous athlete in the world.
First most famous.
Yeah,
the most.
Muhammad
famous.
Ali. Muhammad Ali. Get out of here.
Michael Jordan.
Hi.
Michael Jordan, bro.
I'm googling that.
Jordan.
I'm googling that.
Go ahead. I never heard of a Last Dance 8-part, 10-part documentary about Muhammad Ali. That's for sure.
So, are we talking about
Although Muhammad Ali is amazing, by the way. Just FYI. I do love Muhammad Ali. What were you saying, Daniel? Are we talking about 40K? Yeah, let's talk about ninth. I have a feeling
I got served, though.
that ninth is going to be a big difference.
I forgot that soccer was a thing. So
yeah, soccer is a thing, by the way. Jose
Ronaldo. Pretty big deal.
Ronaldo, Messi. Those guys are pretty big.
So
big.
Here's my question, because I don't want to prognosticate against ninth, because then I have to sit here and say nothing. But let's talk about.
Oh, I love this. Let's talk about ninth, guys. Okay, so ninth.
Hold on. Look what I found.
Did you see Daniel? He almost spit out everything in his mouth. So I'm hoping that ninth brings two things to the game. Number one.
Yeah.
And both of these two things, shut the fuck up, Robert. Go to hell. Just leave the podcast. I'm kicking you out in 2 seconds with that square basis comment. I hope they just shake things up. Number one, I would like to see command points completely redone in a better way, some kind of tactical way, not list building way. And number two, I'd like to see a whole new view of detachments. I'd love to see detachments change. Those are my two big ones. I've heard through the grapevine of people on the internet and all over the place talking about massive terrain impacts, which is great also. But what are you looking for, Daniel?
I would love to get
and Robert.
terrain, get tactical decisions around moving around terrain, utilizing terrain to, slow your opponent down through charges or making them. Right now, you have two types of terrain. I think it's like retarded 40K. It's for stupid people. You can make it better. You can make it harder. You can make it a lot more tactical. I would love to see that.
I mean, the two right now are a wall or -2 to charge.
Yeah, exactly. So you could make that so much more dynamic. And good players could play around that, and I really want 40K to be a skill-based game where good players get benefits from using terrain features or using other stuff. Not only being really good at building armies, like being good in the game again.
How about you, Robert?
I think that's really good. So I would love to see the CP changes you're talking about. For me, it makes no sense that Grey Knights can do 2,000 points army and get 10 points or 13 points, and Astra can do 2,000 points army and get 39. It's the same amount of points put in, right?
Hey, Brad, we're covering some really important stuff. Can you stop moving paper around? It's really annoying. Robert, what did you think about the
Well, first of all, I want to hear what you're going to do with the detachment if detachment doesn't modify command points. What's the point of detachment?
I love how long that took you to write. That's 3 words, but your little T-Rex arms are like, I hate.
Elder Jeffries are not.
No. We're answering Robert's question, not your question. 1 sec.
Answering your comment. Thank you very much. I'm in tune with our viewers, and I like them to be engaged.
Robert.
Stuff. And then I will just go back to my NDA and let you guys talk about shit while I get to sit here and do fucking nothing.
We're almost done, man. Relax, bro. It's all good.
I can't not talk for this long. This is crazy.
So, anyways, somebody has to clip that one right with the animation over him, because that was hilarious. I'm clipping that later. That's going to be a thing. Robert, to answer your question, I think right now you're seeing a lot of detachment builds. Like they're just smashing in like the min on troops to get those like 5 CPs. And I think we would see a lot more clever armies and a lot more armies that kind of really are designed in a whole different way, because you don't necessarily have to take tax if command points were generated by achieving mission objectives, if command points were just fixed, like you get 1 command point a turn. If you have a battalion, you get an extra one before the game starts, similar to Age of Sigmar.
So they still impact command points?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that. Just not fully generate them. I think if you switched it up a little bit so that you didn't feel like, oh, if I play Eldar, I have to figure out a way to get at least 12 to 15 command points if I can. Like that's really what I should strive for, and I'm building my army around it. But if you have a way to get like maybe 6 command points with the build, and then in the game you can somehow generate like 7 more, or you generate them by turn, or you generate them a different way, that'd be interesting.
That would be really cool is if you hold objectives, you get command points.
That would be amazing too, yes. Little things like that I think would be really cool. Or even like a limit on stratagem usage. Like you can only use these strats once per game, or you can only use this strat in the first 3 turns of a game. Something like that, similar to like other things that we've seen.
Whatever, yeah.
Anyways, those are the things I want. Robert, let's finish up on what you want, and then we can change the subject to something that Brad can talk about.
Well, it might be able to be a little bit unpopular, but I want like a revamped assault phase actually.
Revamped in what way?
If you
can actually, Brad, you can actually engage in this now because he's talking about something crazy. So there's no idea on this.
No, but the thing is, I don't think locking a unit should be based on if you have 3 guys that can stand around a guy.
I actually really hate locking units. I think you should be able to leave. Actually, Dan and I talked for this for a long time off stream a couple weeks ago, Daniel, where we were talking about how he was arguing for it because he likes to lock a little bit more than I do. But I think that
I like the idea of skill-based 40k.
Yeah, but I think that
it's like one of the few things that is skill-based is the assault phase. If you make the assault phase simpler, let's play, Monopoly.
Or Risk. I love Risk. It's just like 3 dice to 2.
I think that fly should be nerfed.
It's really fun.
Basically, if I consolidate into your unit, I think you should be able to escape, okay? This is just in my opinion. If I surround Alan's unit, he should be able to leave because why? You know what I mean? And they should probably get destroyed. Like, remember, they used to be destroyed. If you ran away, you got run down. It's the initiative check. So you should take some sort of damage, whether it's be destroyed or take X amount of mortal wounds, depending on how many units I have. But I don't think that it matters if you fly, if you walk, whatever. I think that if someone touches you, you should just not be able to shoot, and that would actually give more skill base, because then actually spacing your models and having proper distance between things becomes a real thing, as opposed to right now where you're like fly and I can derp up and I don't care what you do. I'm playing Tau right now. Why do I give a shit? I literally put my models in a bunch. You attack, I fall back, I shoot as normal, no one cares. Why is that?
It could be a test. +1 if you have fly, -1 if you're slow as shit. I don't know.
You should still take damage though. If Alan and Daniel are sitting there with the chainsaw and the flamethrower, and you and I decide that we don't want to be in combat with them anymore, we're probably going to take some damage as we run away.
No, I wouldn't take damage because I don't have to be faster than Daniel. I have to be faster than you.
I would take the mortal wound, and Robert would get away. See, that's how it would work out.
And he would stab you in the leg before he left. Just like knife.
Just in case.
I don't think we need to handicap the guy with the
I would take one mortal wound from you guys and one mortal wound.
Robert, I would be willing to bet anything you want that as long as Brad is having a good day, he would beat you in any physical activity known to man, including racing.
First of all, I'm a
so I don't know what you're even trying to say with that whole like. I don't need to stab him. You definitely need to stab him.
I am willing to hurt myself to prove that I would win at a dumb, no fucking at all.
He broke his thumb in like multiple spots for lifting a brown.
We all know there's It depends who you're fighting. If you're
First
fighting
of all,
No, no,
I'll
no,
show you
no,
right
no,
now.
no, no.
I'll show you right now. Let's place the physical activity of
You
placing a
you sold
bottle
your soul
on a
to the
high
devil,
shelf.
dude.
See? This is not something Brad could do. See?
Yes, it could, because what I would do
See?
is I would destroy the shelf so it would fall down, and then I would place it on the shelf.
He would snap you in half and then use your body as a step stool to just get up there and grab it. And yeah, Daniel, you've sold your soul for like demons to also help you in fights, because I fought a ghost while
For
trying
sure,
to
just
defend myself
move on
against you.
track.
And
That's the thing, is no one
things
even
happen.
knew before then that Daniel has his place of power that's on a ley line, so he could cast all his spells at +2. So he basically, you tried to throw your punch, and he was like, and then this ghost just grabbed your arm and whipped you around.
Oh my god.
Yes.
It's
Susan
not funny.
Damon immediately went, better than tearing your chest in half fighting ghosts.
Yeah, Sousa
still
was there,
crazy.
man. He saw everything. He was like, "Oh my god, are you okay? Do you need to go somewhere?" I'm like, "No, this happened like 6 days ago."
Why? I need to get a Susan, why are you so close to me, but not at my house?
Because
I
of
didn't know this
COVID,
immediately.
and he has a
He's
daughter, and he plays
It-
Sigmar, and you don't know anything about Sigmar.
You too. I bought the book as soon as you guys told me about
Yeah, but
it.
you can't read, so that doesn't work. I don't even think you've ever read 40K rules. I think you play a game, and you just, through osmosis, remember everything about that game.
I lay on it. I just set my head on the book and just
Yeah, you put it like
eventually
under your
sits in.
pillow.
I think
Like
Brad is
somehow it
very
just goes in your brain.
grandmother Jimmy.
I think I stopped Sousa from getting raped once in Serbia.
Whoa.
He's on
Okay. Remember that line we were talking about? So,
No, wasn't he one of the
Anyways.
guys that I wouldn't let take a fake taxi from the airport?
maybe. I don't know.
Oh, I'm 100%.
If that's
I
true,
will,
then you're
I will
good.
hit you up. Britt and I would love to see. But you're one of the people that Britt likes. After she yelled at you in Vegas,
It's like a
she
huge
decided
list.
she
Who
liked
does
you.
Britt not like? Britt likes everyone, kind of. She's like the friendly.
That's
She's like
right.
super
But
friendly.
James has it 100% right. Chester plays on charisma and bullshit. The way
Yeah,
a true player
Exactly.
plays.
James, bro, where's the like
I'm
button on this one?
100% sure
I'm
this is
liking
the rule, guys. And I think it's in the FAQ. I don't have it with me, but just trust me. I'm
Yeah.
almost positive this is the way it works.
Yeah, no, it's freaking crazy. I see him do it all the time. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna cast the power here." It's like, "Oh, I didn't mean to be in range. Sorry, let's just go right here."
Put my model where you think it needs to be. Also, I'm not going to the other side, so if you would deploy this stuff and then move it for me, that'd be great. Because again,
No, but I really would like to see those changes. So I'm excited about those 9th edition changes. I know Brad can't say anything, so we'll end the subject there, I guess. And we can talk
You
about.
come to my side of the table if it's on your time.
No, you know what's
45
really funny?
later.
I was hanging out with Brad, and we were not streaming or anything. We were just talking, and I'm sitting there talking to him about my Centurion plan.
shit.
What happened?
I'm not gonna lie. It is Rick James. The stupid Facebook won't let me have Rick James. I was thinking for a second who it was, and I'm like, I thought it was him, but I'm like, maybe it's somebody else.
The stupid Facebook thing won't let me have Rick James.
That's what I kept looking at the picture, and I'm like, did you steal somebody's picture I know? Like, hold on a second here. But
That's pretty funny.
here, let's move on to something I talk about. I'm gonna ask you guys a quick question, and then you guys can talk from there.
Wait, I wanted to finish my story. So I was telling everyone about Centurions and Master of Ambush with Raven Guard and all these strategies with it. And Brad's just quiet the whole time. He's like, okay, cool. Let's talk about this. He kept trying to like change the subject. I'm like, no, this is what I want to do. This is kind of what I'm thinking. And I didn't understand why he just refused to talk to me about what I wanted to talk about. And then 3 days later, Games Workshop announced that Master of Ambush doesn't work for Centurions. And I'm like, you knew the whole time. You didn't say a damn thing. I was so mad. Greg was there too. Greg is like, not saying nothing. Everyone's letting me think that the rules are the rules.
Alan doing this.
Yeah. No one told me a
Like-
damn thing. I was like, oh man. So anyways, that was my
So-
story. But go ahead. What did you want to pivot to?
No, I want to go with straight nights still because I want to talk about. I'm going to have you guys talk about it. But what do you guys think right now? Okay, say they announce 9th tomorrow, and they say that 9th edition is going to be live. I mean, if they announce it tomorrow, what do you think the timeline would be? A month, 2 months?
Yeah, end of the month. If they announce it
Yeah.
tomorrow, it'll probably come out like
Sure.
June 22nd.
So just say,
I mean,
just say,
after
let's just go
salary,
all,
next month.
let's just
Yeah.
go all in. Let's just say tomorrow they go, fuck it. 9th is live right fucking now. Figure it out. What do you think the rest of the year is going to look like tournament wise? Like, is everybody Just
well, we
all
don't
in
know
on what it
ninth.
is?
We don't know ninth. We don't know how long COVID will last, and we have no idea whether or not ninth will change the actual format of events. So I can't answer. There's no way I can answer that question because I don't know anything. You know stuff, but I don't know a damn thing. I would guess that ninth would come out based on what I've heard through rumors and speculation that it does have some significant changes to how 40K has always been played. I have a strong feeling that tournament organizers will completely ignore the vast majority of it, kind of like that game that came out for 40K about flyers, where if they're in a formation, you get special bonuses, aeronautical, whatever it is called. I think they'll just ignore it, and I think 40K will remain the same way, except for probably detachment changes, CP changes, the way terrain is used in general, and maybe some mission stuff might get leaked through and impact things. But I don't think it'll be a big change.
If GW took a bigger hand in tournaments like they did back in the, I mean, I have to look at Daniel over here because he's the only person that played in these. Back in the 2000s when GW ran all the big tournaments, what would you think if GW got heavily into tournament organization and rules and stuff?
There's no way that's happening.
No, just
It's not good.
I mean, this is such a theoretical question, so it's hard to answer.
Just start off
you
with
were there for that.
just start off with corporate 40K.
I'd love to see that happen for many reasons, because it would change the standardization of the game. I actually think during this entire edition, I think 40K has been actually really good from Games Workshop. And we've done a big job of messing it up with other types of rules.
ITC.
I think,
Not cool, Robert. We're
so
a neutral
I
channel here.
really cool.
Got some GT in my throat.
I really think Games Workshop should get involved in the tournament scene, and I really think they should get involved with not necessarily cash prize, because I'm not overly. I don't personally overly enjoy it because I think it's more of a gentleman's game, and if you put money into the mix, it's
I don't
gonna
like
make
cash prize. I don't like it at all.
Yeah, I have two fears with that.
prize supports and stuff. And also for them, since I've been playing this game for 28 years. Fuck, I'm old. I think for them, it would increase their stock. It would be good for them as a company to be more involved.
If anybody's old like Daniel and I, actually Daniel's not even that old. He started playing when he was as a zygote. He started playing 40K. His mom had trouble birthing him because he came out with a full 1750 point army when he was born. So he started from the beginning. But I really, really love, and I have rose-colored glasses on because this is when I first started playing in the first few years. But GW used to run all the games. A grand tournament is a GW term. That was the tournaments they ran for us. They came to the States for us and started running a tournament.
Because I'm from Sweden. They didn't run a single tournament in Sweden as far as I know.
Yeah,
there was no grand tournaments there. They were only the States, Brett.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe in England as well.
Maybe, but I don't even think they were there.
One, but they were like sponsors, and someone else organized it.
Yeah, Daniel. Felix goes, "You've played it for longer than I've lived."
I know. This happens to me a lot. I've actually lost games to people that have played the game, lived shorter than I played the game.
That's because you suck.
But no, I really enjoyed when they took a part of it. I'm not going to say that I want comp and sportsmanship back, but I do like. For instance, Alan actually really got me into the hobby aspect more. And this is seriously, I hadn't been into it for a long time. And he literally brought his Candyland.
Who's killing a dog in the background? Is that you, Brad, or is that someone else?
It's me. It's just fucking the neighborhood. I have 3 dogs, and the neighborhood dogs lose their fucking shit when my dogs go outside. Okay. So we're not going to talk about that.
Candyland, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, Bill Sis was talking about the Vegas GT that GW ran. It was good. But, no, Alan brought. I remember the time when you had to bring a list that had a real comp score, a real painting score. You had to write a little fluff for your list. You have to have a reason why you brought your damn shit. It wasn't just because I wanted to win 8 games or 9 games or whatever the hell it was. You had to have a little bit more to win the overall. And like Alan literally beat I crushed Alan in battle score, and he destroyed me at overall at the Michigan GT, like laughably. It wasn't even I was like, look, I was down here and I'm looking at his score, like I can't really see what you scored. It's so far above me because he had theme and pain and everything else. You know what I mean? He got like a bigger score. And I really like the fact that Bill Kim, the guy that runs our Michigan GT, there's other guys in it, but we're just going to mention Bill. So, but they, you know, they have all these scores that come into it. Yeah.
Getting drunk at the boys GT is a thing, by the way, Rick.
I'll read the quote. I remember the time Chester got so day drunk in Rochester, we had to ask him to leave before the round was over. By the way, that was the year that I was playing in the team tournament. I remember rolling dice. My opponent said, you can't see my model. And I took my model and I put it over here. I go, how about now? And he's like, yeah, from there, I guess you could, but you're not there. I go, I am now. And then then I blacked out and woke up in the Ponderosa parking lot with "Don't Punch" written on my hand in not my handwriting, and I had no idea where I was.
No, I thought it was "Don't" on one hand and "Punch" on the other.
Yeah,
of course.
Well, yeah, and then that was a Copox woman that wrote it, and then I was still not the worst person because, as usual, Brown decided to go all in and make sure that I wasn't remembered as the biggest drunk because Nick threw a model on the ground, glued it back together with about 2 pounds of glue so you could see the glue, and then literally dove on a table and destroyed it.
Sousa's the best.
His model or someone else's model?
No, of course not. By the way, Gagno's model. And he tried to hand it back to him, literally with the arms pointing the wrong way and like at least a quarter pound of glue.
No, Brad.
No, Brad. He tried to handle it back, but it was still stuck with super glue on his hand.
He was like, "Go ahead and take it."
Brad,
I have to come with it.
Brad, Sousa in the comments goes, "There's Warhammer at the boys GT."
By the way, the boys GT props, best terrain in 40K.
I really want to go.
Yeah, some of the best, if not the best. Yeah, it's really close to the best. I think the boys and the broadside bash terrain.
Never been there.
Yeah, the broadside bash. That's the green skull behind me. The broadside bash terrain is insanity in terrain. Like they literally had a whole event where you dressed up real nice. It was like a gentleman event kind of thing. I got a picture of it. I'll post it somewhere. I was wearing a full pajama suit, full suit, tie, everything, made out of pajamas, and you had a portion of your score was how like GQ you looked at the event. Me and Cooper Waddell were there. It was awesome. And they had that whole event was like on themed tables, like full tables themed. And they had like just amazing terrain. It was crazy. But yeah, the boys is really, really good too. Courtney over there is insane.
Talking about this, I know we have been talking about this before. A part of you, when you're talking about this, Brad, a part of you dies, right? Because you are also playing 40K for the fact that you really want to win.
Yeah,
you really want
100%.
to be general, right? So that's why I really enjoy the fact that we've not really had in Sweden, or I haven't seen it that much in Europe at all, but I've seen it in America, which is best general and best overall. I think that rewards really both parts of like the game. I really enjoy that. Where in Sweden that would be the best general gets,
well, you saw Daniel, you saw
But
what we did for Adepticon. Why don't you talk about that a little bit? For Adepticon teams, how much effort goes in to getting those other points? You were at my house. You saw it.
I mean, I just showed up and played.
Yeah, but you were there
No
though.
effort at all.
I know you didn't do anything, but
He's like, I drink wine. What are you talking about?
but you
I think
saw
I
everything
painted
though.
like 20 bases.
I think you were inspiration for
I
the
don't
meteor.
even think you painted 20 bases, to be honest. But
I bled for your team, Alan. I bled for your team.
no, but he was there at my house like on Wednesday when I showed him what we had to accomplish. He was like, "What? You got to do all this stuff?"
No, Daniel sent me a message that said, we will not be at the team tournament, basically, when I said that. We're like, there's no way he's finishing any of this. You actually sent me that message. I'll look it up for you on that. You're like, yeah, this isn't happening.
Yeah. No, but I mean, for me, I would have been super happy coming out of the team tournament at Adepticon with Best General, because that's sort of what I'm playing for. But the stuff you put in and all the work and everything that gave us Best Overall, for me, I don't think personally there's a big difference between Best General and Best Overall. I'm just saying that I think Best Overall should get all the prize support and all that
100%.
stuff. They put so much money and effort into it.
We talked about that. I mean, they spent Best Overall spends so much more on the tournament, because I could show up with models that have 2 dots of one color and then they're all one other color and win Best General. The dude that played Best Overall has literally spent a ton of time and money, and the time's actually more important, to tell you the truth.
Also, sometimes they take in someone from across the world that paints 20 bases.
Yeah, that's true.
You know.
But I mean, if 5-6 years ago in Sweden, you had to have a really beautiful army to win certain tournaments. That was a problem. If you went to Fantasia Fanatic, you had to have a good army.
Yeah, but like when you say beautiful, like if like an average gamer who's an average painter gave it their best try to like really make the army look really good, is he still gonna have a good score? No.
Yeah,
that's not good. That means your rubric is wrong. That means your rubric is wrong.
It was more like this at Fantasia, which I actually talked to the guys and said you should take back some of the stuff you used to do and split it up into 2 categories. Split it up into like the Best Overall and Best General, because what has happened when you used to go there, you played beautiful armies against pretty, I'm sorry guys from Umeå, but against pretty crappy players.
I won Best Painted and the fucking tournament, so.
But
so that makes sense then. You don't paint that great, so that makes sense why like an average player could and painter could do.
Rob is a really good painter.
Yeah.
I love that you immediately just shit on Robert. You're just like, oh yeah, I can't do that to get him.
I mean, that makes sense now. He did it, so anyone could do it.
But this is actually one of my fears with Games Workshop taking over tournaments, because they're going to need some huge commitment to judges, which I think is going to be hard to fix. They have to do like a Magic the Gathering type system, and they need to be willing to like slaughter their rules so fast. And also bases. Like, I think 4 or 5 of my 6 armies would be illegal at a Games Workshop tournament, since I have micro bases.
Let's talk about this a little bit, because this is what I do. Yeah. We have, in Combat Rick was talking about it. What do you guys think about, because I'm not against it because I don't paint, okay? So Snigs basically paints 90% of everything that I've ever brought. So what do you guys think about?
Or Snigs.
I know. I also make him, literally, by the way, I make Snakes play every army in the game. I just send him a list. Yeah, exactly. Pour out one for our homies. I make Snakes play every army in the game when I'm getting ready for a tournament. He's like, I don't know how to play that army. I'm like, you got to figure that shit out by the time we play that, man, because this is what I want to test against. And he's like, I fucking hate you. I have a job. But what do you guys think about paid people that pay for painting versus people that this is an actual question. I know where I stand, but where do you guys feel about people that pay for armies and people that paint their own armies? Is there a difference? Do you think it should be scored?
I don't think you should be allowed to win Best Painted if you haven't painted it yourself.
100%.
But I definitely think you could win Best Overall with a beautiful army, because it's a big difference in that. I think.
I think there should be.
Overall is not about that you painted it. It's like, I have a beautiful painted army. Yeah, I paid for it. But it's like the way around, right? Should you be allowed to win Best Overall if you got master classes from Brad Chester?
Well, that's not going to happen. So
I mean, that's not going to happen.
So I'll weigh in. I'll weigh in on this because I have a different opinion. I don't think you should be able to win either. You shouldn't be able to win painted or overall, because the way I look at overall is it's essentially trying to reward the person who supposedly put in the most effort, right? So if you take master classes, What's up?
He paid $5,000 to get his fucking army painted.
But it's not effort. It's not effort. He paid
Well,
for it.
wait,
So
I
what
see.
you're saying? So what you're saying though is he paid for the win. You're okay with that? You're okay with going to a tournament and someone paid for the win? They didn't earn it? It's literally plagiarism. I'm getting a reward for something someone else did.
I mean, I'm actually more on your side, Alan, but I do want to play counterpoint on that. I mean, I have no problem with someone coming in with a beautiful army.
No, I want to play against beautiful armies. That's why I want to award people except best general, because it's nice to play against beautiful armies.
I mean, if you remember, guys,
I have to realize the fact that I'm not a great painter, so
It's okay as long as you put effort. I'd rather see effort.
At McDonald's for someone else to paint my.
Everybody can pay. Everybody can paint to a level of tabletop if you put effort into it. 100%. There's nobody who can't do it.
Except colorblind Shorty over here.
Really?
Yep.
You think that
Brad
shaky hand, colorblind, fucking
Brad
can
can
figure this out?
Brad can paint
I
something
disagree.
if you want to.
I don't think you should be able to win best painted if someone else painted your army.
No, of course not.
Back in the day, you used to have to actually.
I don't
push the
understand
button.
how best painted and overall are anything different. 33% of the overall score would be paint, hypothetically speaking.
The old GW.
So, like, it's the
let's
same
go with
thing.
this.
I would say
No,
fifth
the
or
old,
sixth.
old GW thought that GW actually agreed with Alan in the 2000s because you had to win the overall, not best general. You could win best general, but if you didn't paint your own army, because you had to check mark if you painted your own army.
Yeah, it's
So
honor system.
Please show me how to prove that.
You can't.
You didn't.
You can't enforce it. There's no way to enforce it.
I'm
If
not
someone
gonna-
lies,
I
then
used,
that's
I
fine.
used to check that button and just say red gore, and they were like, "What other colors did you use?" And I went,
Other red.
"Red gore," and some other red, probably punch a goblin in the face red.
I'm fully
is
aware
the
that
color-
you can't enforce that rule. People could just lie, but that's fine. That's who they are at the end of the day. So that's okay. Just
But
walk
aren't
away
the
from it.
guys
That's
buying
fine.
armies the ones that has no time and doesn't gonna win anyway?
No, not necessarily. Really good players could just go out and get commission painted armies for tournaments that require you to have a good painting
Yeah, but
score.
where do we draw the line then? Aren't I supposed to be able to win with the army I bought off eBay? I didn't buy it because it was pro painted. I bought it because I needed miniatures.
Yeah, I mean, let's say for instance, ready, a couple years ago,
I mean,
Daniel
I
was
sold an
working a
army to
ton,
Nick.
and really, when you moved over to the position, and say for instance, Daniel, yourself for a while when you first started, were working like a ridiculous amount, and you couldn't get stuff painted, but you had a couple extra bucks laying around. Even though you're a hobbyer, should you want to continue to play? Do you want to exclude people that don't have the time but are very passionate about the hobby?
Literally, no one is excluding anyone. Come to the tournament with your commissioned army. You can't win overall or best painted. That's it. You
Then
can
I
still
wouldn't
win
go.
general.
I want to win.
Well, then if you want to win, put in the work. Don't be a lazy piece of shit. Like, what are you talking about? If you want to win, put in the work. Do the
Could
painting.
we edit that so the sign says I hate anal?
Divide this into three categories is because I think it rewards different people, right? So you could have, you could be a good player. You can't win best general, and you have a good team, you have a good army, you have a great display board. I made an awesome display board myself. I bought a commissioned painted army to put on it, and I played good. I ended up 10. I won best overall. Why not? That's why you also have on the other side best painted. You can't bring your friend's army and win best painted. Because you
They're
didn't
the
paint
exact same
yourself.
concept. You're giving an award to someone for
We're just
something they
arguing
didn't
about
do.
overall.
I know,
that's
but
all
it's
right.
the same. It's the same thing. A portion of
I know.
overall is best painted. I don't understand.
We should,
If you were okay with doing
we
it in
all are
overall,
completely
you
above
should be
on
okay
the
with
different
doing it.
side here.
You should be okay
What
with doing
what
it for
do you guys
painted.
think about sportsmanship though?
Sportsmanship
Because
is bullshit.
I like sportsmanship score in theory,
No,
but I
it's-
hate this because
doesn't
all
work.
the counts I play that happens to not like
doesn't,
me because I
because
win.
Sportsmanship
Yeah. Bad.
score is bullshit. You're supposed to
Yeah.
be a good sport at the table, but the problem with the sportsmanship score is that's a tongue twister. The problem with that score in America, at least, I don't know about Sweden, but like in almost every game I play, the person I'm playing like literally circles like the 5 or the best score right in front of me.
No,
And, like, goes, "Yeah, we're good, right?
They,
Cool."
They get mad because you smash them.
Or that,
That's it.
yeah, that
not a
happens too.
sportsmanship.
That
You could be
happens
a
too.
great guy, have a fun
we
game.
have a much bigger problem in Sweden than you have.
What's your problem in Sweden?
Because in America, people enjoy you being like happy. Like it's
happy when you win. Yeah, in Sweden they think you're bragging.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
In America, it's fine if you're happy then you're winning because it's sort of in your mentality that it's nice to be successful. In Sweden, it's fucking horrible to be successful.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta tell them you're American, Daniel.
Sweden.
Plus, this might surprise you, but everyone doesn't like me.
Wait, I got that.
Everyone likes Americans.
Sweden automatically get a worse score than you deserve.
You know, I think that you got the wrong impression about me.
Daniel once vowed that he would stop playing Warhammer if he ever won best sportsmanship at a tournament.
No, if I won best sportsmanship at the tournament while ending up good in the tournament, like top 3.
That's how it's actually tie broken in the United States for most events. So the way tiebreakers happen, so the biggest problem with sportsmanship in the United States is there's a lot of perfect scores, right? Because nobody takes it seriously, and everyone gives. So most sportsmanship things say like number 1, best game I ever had in my life. Number 2, no issues, very good game. Number 3, bad game. Okay, that's kind of how it works. And everybody just puts best game I ever had in my life. That's pretty much how most events work.
Because everybody games it.
Everyone games it. No one wants to lose points, so they want to show. I don't want to go to questions real quick, Brad. Let me just finish this. So everyone goes on the top one. So then what happens is at the end, they have to figure out a way. Okay, everyone has a 20 in sportsmanship. How do we break the 20? Some people are under the impression that the person who had the toughest time, so lowest battle points, should win. Some people think most battle points should win. So it's both ways. It's both ways.
A lot harder to win and get high points than lose and get high points.
So if you could,
prize. That's why if I end up
agreed, 100% agree with you. I just think that's our problem is the everyone just doesn't take it seriously and they get max. So
that's
Alan,
why
go to the comments, Alan.
Below top 3.
Which one did you want me to go into?
I'll stop.
Make fun of Daniel and then go to Rick's comment.
I have nothing to say. Daniel's awesome. He's killing it.
No, it's Felix's comment.
Oh, Felix. Felix said, "Didn't you, brother, win sportsmanship?" And okay.
Jönköping.
You read it. I can't see it, Brad. You read it.
Didn't your brother win sportsmanship in Jönköping once, Daniel?
Oh, that comment.
And
no, but then we'll go to Rick's comment.
Jimmy has never won best sportsmanship.
No.
Me and Jimmy once got a guy to stop playing Warhammer for good.
Very excellent.
Not in Jönköping, but there was a team tournament, and I decided I was bored, so I went to Jimmy's table, and there were no drinking allowed. But since I'm a goddamn genius, I brought a suspiciously large container of clear liquid and some coffee cups with a lid on it that I stole from our local 7-Eleven. And then we proceeded to get tipsy. And apparently Jimmy is not a very nice opponent when he's tipsy. So he started yelling at his opponent for doing shit. So the guy said, "It's not worth it," packed his model, and that was the last time we ever saw him. His name was Björn, and we don't frankly miss you, so bye.
He wrote a very upset comment as well.
Yeah.
It was like, I played this guy, he was a little bit drunk, so I expected a really nice game. But unfortunately, he also knew all the rules, and it upset me.
I would actually mention that because there was a guy kept giving him coffee. This guy.
Dude, Sparks did that because you know how I am because I'm 1,000 years old and I don't know how to use the internet. So Sparks would always go to every chat room in the universe, and he sends me a link. I went to a tournament, I smashed everybody, and I played this guy that played Necrons and played this super bad. There was a huge piece of terrain in the middle, and he had put both of his sides of his army on either side. So I just took my entire army to one side, killed half of his army, then went to the other side, killed the other half. And we talked about the game. We talked about tactics. I tried to help him out with what he could have done. And he was super nice about it, receptive. And he's like, "Oh, thanks a lot for explaining to me all this stuff." And was like super cool. And I thought, oh, cool. I really helped somebody out. Then Sparks sends me a link that the title is Tool from Toledo. This son of a bitch brought this bullshit army to this tournament and wrecked me on it because of his bullshit army. And I was like, "You motherfucker, I will hunt you down." But
That used
this
to
kinda
be
comment-
that used to be more of a thing back in the day, though, Brad, with people getting mad about lists. Now I think everyone's really like, I mean, like for example, these Florida guys came to LVO and destroyed the game with their list, and I thought
Yeah, they all put the same
most
thing.
people thought it was cool. I thought, I don't know, maybe not most people. I
think
shouldn't
that
speak for
I
other
think
people.
that list development is literally 50% of what you should be. I think it should be 50% list development, 50% play, because you should be able to bring a list that you spend a lot of time in practice on, and then 50% play during the tournament. Let's get the comments real
But
quick.
that's
Okay,
because
go ahead.
people are stupid.
Who's stupid?
Because they think but they think that
Just,
if there's
the Rick
different
one. Go
list
ahead.
winning, it's not the same list winning, so it's not the list winning. But it's
That's why
exactly
I'm
as a
saying
broken list. It's just not the
development,
same
though.
list.
You should
Yeah.
be developing your list that it can take on everything.
I mean,
And you should be practiced with the list. And then when you go into the tournament, like basically what should happen is Daniel and I play, okay? It should be 50% is basically done because Daniel and I spent a lot of time on list preparation, on the missions, on the tournament. So that 50% is gone. So optimally, that's all done. And then it just comes down to generalmanship because we should both have an elite level list that can handle everything in the missions. And then it comes down to, rolling dice and moving models. You know what I mean?
yeah, no, all I was trying to say is I think back in the 10 years ago or so, like if you came to a tournament and you had like a very win at all cost army, people would you get kind of like a bad stigma back in those days. And now today you bring like you break the game, you bring a win at all cost army, and I think a lot of people just respect it. They're like, wow, these guys really cracked the code. Like this new list they have is just gross. But like 10 years
But I
ago
don't
you do
get
that.
Why wouldn't you try to win 5 years ago? Like it's the same.
No,
It's
there
the
was
same
like a
goal.
stigma though. It was different. Maybe because of the lack of the internet or the lack of like.
I got fucking smashed.
Yeah, dude.
at
No, it was
fucking boys
bad, man. It
for
was
bringing
bad.
a too bad list. Like literally, the internet fucking set me on fire. Everybody was yelling at me.
I remember on Daka like this whack tournament players, blah blah blah, whole form of like examples of different people bringing armies that are just not fun to play against. And that was like a thing.
It's two-folded. It's definitely two. First of all, only a few years back, the internet spread of lists weren't the same.
Yeah, that's true too.
Right now, everyone can go out, get a really, really good list on the internet, paint it up, and bring it to a tournament. I remember only like 8 years ago, it was like everyone brought their own,
They were
their
guarding
own
it.
gas.
People were
They
guarding
brought their own
lists.
gas to the tournament.
There were
but I think you get better.
It was some of the armies were fucking horrible.
Yeah, but I think that goes the other way also, Daniel, because of the fact that
that's where I'm coming to.
That's why it was two folded.
That's why
This
it's
is the
two-folded.
second fold, Brad.
So,
He did the first fold.
Thank you for that.
Now he's doing the second fold.
Now
Pay attention.
Now instead, since everyone can bring Nick Nanavari's lists or Sean Naden's lists or Mani's list or whatever, they're all bringing those lists. And if you manage to break those lists instead of getting bad rep because you were super cheesy, now you get good rep because you broke the famous list.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
And
and I think all these guys who are like these guys in the limelight right now doing a lot of these lists, I think they're already onto the next list. So they're leaking their list. They're like, hey, we got coaching services and all kinds of stuff going on. Here you go. Here it is. But they're already on something new. So they're ahead of that.
That was my was the thing on that is that the problem is that people take a net list and they don't figure out what the best thing to play for them is. Like every time that Daniel and I talk, we come up with lists and then we talk about the things that we like for us because we place different play styles. So you need to bring a list. People don't realize this, that maybe the best list for Robert isn't the best list for me because he likes to play a different play style than me. So you
Robert
can't just play that.
actually likes that Blood of Kittens have great lists that he can take.
Yeah, last time I was at Daniel, I didn't want to build a list, so I just Googled I just picked a list and then played against Daniel. I like that.
Yeah, I hate that. I can never do that.
Never.
For me,
no.
I can, and I don't mind anyone else doing that. But for me to build up a list, I'll start with core units I like from the codex, and then I develop it from that on by play testing it a lot of the times, and I'll change something out. And sometimes I have like an idea of a list, and a direction of a list, and then through player testing, I realized this won't work.
So
I'll
so
change it.
I'm gonna
But
add
that's
on
the
to
thing,
what
I like switching.
Corey,
I'm gonna
Corey's
add
gonna
on to
really
what
switch
Daniel
all
is
the
saying.
time.
Let me
play
let me
all
gonna-
different armies.
let me add on to
I
what
was gonna
Daniel's
do-
saying right here.
I
This
was
is
gonna
really
do a
good. We'll get to the comments when we can. I literally don't care about the comments. I just want to talk to you three. But we'll indulge these people when we can. So here's some free consulting services on being a competitive 40K player that Brad won't like me doing because it's free. If you are not writing your army list and not testing your army list and coming up with your army list, if you are taking an army list, you will never be as good as the top, let's say 20% of players who are doing that, because you're always going to be behind. You're going to be playing what someone else figured out, someone else discovered. You're going to be like literally Thomas Edison trying to invent things that Nikola Tesla invented 5 years before his time, right? So you're never going to catch up. You may get some recognition, but you're never going to be the best.
But you can do both. Call Brad. While
Especially,
he's alive.
Call Brad.
especially
What
right,
is
While he's alive, damn.
especially right now, when you also have to understand the complex mechanism of stratagems interacting with your units. So you'll probably see the
Yeah.
top 80% of
Yeah.
the usage of the troops or the stuff you're bringing, but you won't see the deeper synergies of what the idea of the list is. You have
I
to
think
figure that
zero
out.
people in
The
Sweden would actually
only
win
way
with an
to do
Eden
that
list.
is to build the army from bottom up.
Especially something that you're familiar with. Tell you the truth, if you're building an army, I think you should basically take 1,000 points of whatever you know, and then start adding to it. Because
Yep.
otherwise, you don't know how the hell the army works. You know what I mean? Even if you're going for something new, start with something you're already familiar with. People just grab net lists and just go, "Hey, so and so won with this. This is obviously good. I'll do great with it." And then they don't, because they don't know how any of the synergies work, any of the strats work. How if you roll a shit turn and everything dies, how do you come back from that? You don't know, because you're not familiar.
Here's a great example I'll give to anyone who watches this in the future. Go look at Aiden Barkley's LVO Slanesh Possessed Army and try to put it on a tabletop and play it. And I guarantee you have no idea what the hell it does, because Aiden made that list, and he's the only person that I think truly would understand how to play that army. And it's a really good example.
He did really well.
Yeah, it's a really
Same-
good example
same
of an
with
army
Schwartz's
that
Fucking Harlequin.
when I read it, I was like, wow, what a creative, just amazing approach to a list. Like, I wish I was that good to come up with this. I realized I couldn't play it, and I realized I couldn't come up with it. That's him, but it's just insane. Go look it up. It's crazy.
I really liked when we talked to Carmona about his chaos list, because he was bringing different shit that he
Yeah,
likes.
he's super creative
and-
too.
Yeah, and it different. You know what I mean? It's like you have to bring shit that you're comfortable with, and also you have to basically juggle what is optimized. You know what I mean? What are the best units versus what are the best units for you? I mean, dude, Daniel and I making the same exact army basically will come to a point where we'll come up with 1,500 points that are exactly the same. Yeah, Lichtershame, exactly, Schnaden. But Daniel and I building the list will come up with 1,500 points that are the same and 500 points that are crazily different, because each of us thinks that certain ways that you play the army needs certain units. So it's always going to be a little bit different if you're building the army and being honest with yourself, things that you want, the answers that you need. This unit stops infiltrators, stops deep strike. This is the way I like to answer certain things. They'll be different. Everybody's play style is a little bit different. You can't just grab somebody's army and assume that you're going to do well with it. You need to be building up. You know what I mean? You need to be familiar with that.
Yep.
I'm always calling that dialectal part of the army. You know, it's like you have your own dialect of answering to different things.
I once was at a tournament in Sweden when a guy accused me of ripping off Nick's list, just stealing it outright. So I called Nick and made Nick explain to my opponent that he gave me the list.
Now, you want to be real.
I like
fucking
when
messy.
people have the exact army with the name and they cross it out. They put their name
the
on top
best
of it.
is literally Nanavati and I and Naden. We like basically all of Team America went to Naden's house before we played in 2 years ago LVO, and we all left with the same army. We built it together, hung out like for 3 days. We were hanging out and doing shit. And then somebody asked me how I was doing playing Nanavati's List, and I literally almost punched them in the throat. I was so angry about it. I'm like, you mean the list that I designed with him? They go, no, yeah, you're playing Nick's list, right? I will fucking kill you.
Yeah, but how did you do playing Nick's list?
I did third.
Yeah, because Nick was better, and then second Nick was better.
Yeah, second Nick was better than me. I was that was the Tony year.
Oh my god, it's so funny. Anyways, I think we've covered a lot. We've covered how to be good at 40K. We've covered what we want in 9th. We've covered that Brad is super salty.
You use that animation so many times on me.
I just love it. It's so much fun.
I'm looking over to my left, and all I keep seeing is salt shakers going.
It's so much fun. I love it. It's the best. I'll show these guys when we get off air, which we're going to get off air now. I hope this button plays music.